Alright, 8th grade, Chapter 1, Lesson 2. It's about powers and exponents. So first things first, we need to know our vocabulary here. So let's say 3 to the second power. Oh look, it's the fake Mr. Ellis, and they're giving me an unhappy face. Haters gonna hate. Okay. So when you're looking at these numbers here, big number on the bottom is the base, because the base is like the bottom. Okay. This number up here is the exponent. Okay. And then the whole thing all together is the power. Ugh, that's a bad W. So what makes it confusing is you would read this as 3 to the second power, even though the 2 is the exponent. Okay, it's like handy vocabulary in case you end up on like Jeopardy. That power is the entire thing, and the exponent is up on the top. But you can still say 3 to the second power. Okay, it's like fun facts. Okay, so then it says express each expression using exponents. So all it wants us to do is wants us to count up how much of every single thing we have, and then rewrite it. So in this case here, we have 3 times 3, so there's 2 3's, which is 3 to the second power. So however many there are of the thing that you have, that's your exponent. Okay, so in this case, 2 3's, second power. Mr. Ellis, I forgot basic 2nd grade math. Well, life's hard. Times, you expect us to do this. I do. Times m. M is just, there's just one of them, so it just stays as m. And then that's it. That's your answer. You're just counting. Piece of cake. Okay? Second one, we have 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4. So we just count up how many 1/4s are there. Well, there's 3 of them. So we're going to put 1/4. We're going to keep it in parentheses, and we're going to raise it to the 3rd power because there are 1, 2, 3 of them. That's it. 1/4 3rd power, that's your answer. Nothing to it. My friend said you are trash BTW. Your friend's trash. Oh, what now? Okay. So next one we have 3 different things. So we just count them all up. So we have 1, 2. So you can say 2 times. And then we're going to skip the letters. We want to do all of our numbers first. So how many 5s do we have? Let's go different color just for fun. We have 2 5s. So that's 5 to the 2nd power. Okay. And then we go to our variables. We have 3D, or D to the 3rd power. And that's all we got to do here. Can we talk about big famous constant? No, we cannot talk about big famous constant E because we're in 8th grade. Keeping it simple. Some people can't even do 2nd grade math, so very simple. Alright, next one. Whole lot of stuff, lots of P's and Q's. So again, we start with our numbers. So we have a -9, we have another -9. So that's -9 to the 2nd power because there's 2 of them. And then since we have 2 different variables, we try to do it alphabetically. So since P comes before Q in the alphabet, we're going to start there. So we have 1, 2, 3 of those. So times P to the 3rd power. And then we count up all of our Q's. 1v1 me siege copper bet. That doesn't mean that much to me. But I'm proud of you for showing up. So how many Q's are there? There are 2 Q's. So that's Q to the 2nd power. And there's the whole first part of the lesson there. It's not supposed to be complicated. It's just practice so we can do bigger, better things later. Okay? So next part is evaluate. Evaluate's just a fancy way of saying solve. So we're actually going to do the math now. So there's no variables here. This is all just math. So evaluate means solve. So if we have negative 8 to the 4th power, if we wrote this out, would look like negative 8 times, put all these in parentheses, times negative 8 times negative 8 times negative 8. Okay? So then we just multiply these. Am I secretly a reptilian? I don't think that's secret at all. So negative 8 times negative 8, 8 times 8 is 64. A negative times a negative is positive. So negative 8 times negative 8 is 64. So negative 8 times negative 8 would also be 64. Okay. Now our last step would be, what is 64 times 64? And since I don't have my calculator handy, that's actually a lie. I always have my calculator handy. That gives us 4,096. So negative 8 to the 4th power is positive 4,096. And that is our answer. So one of the keys here is to recognize when you start using powers or exponents that the numbers get either real big or real small real quick. Because we started at negative 8, we ended up at 4,000, just like that. Okay? So when you're dealing with exponents, okay, don't be afraid if you get big or very small numbers. Alright, so second one. Hey teacher, hey son, I hope you made this whole account just so I would call you son. Be a little weird, but I'd be proud. I would be proud to call you son. Oh, just fun to say. Alright, so next one, 1/5 to the 3rd power. Oh, but now you're a jerk. Let's get rid of... It's a bad son. So 1/5 to the 3rd power. So same idea. Is you take whatever the number is and you just multiply it that many times. So 1/5 times 1/5 times 1/5. Okay. And if we're multiplying fractions, we just go straight across. So 1 times 1 times 1, that's just 1. Okay. And then 5 times 5 is 25. Times 5 again is 125. So 1/5 to the 3rd power is 1 over 125. So again, numbers get big and small pretty quick. All right, last one is, a mess. Okay, negative 3/5 to the 5th power. So this means we'd have to put negative 3/5, and we need that 5 times. So I'm going to write this 5 times. 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. And then we're just going to multiply these all together. So it's going to be 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is, oh, I need a better calculator for this. 3 to the 5th power. So that's 243. And then I have 5 times 5, or 5 to the 5th power rather, which is 3,125. Oof. Okay, hold on. I can do this better. Move it over so I have room to work. And then we'll erase this. So you could do that by hand, but this is a little bit out there. This is more work than it's worth. Really, the big idea here is that we start off with a negative number, so we have to figure out our sign here. So if we say negative times a negative is positive, right? And then a positive times a negative ends up being negative again, right? So when we get to the third number here, we're back at a negative. But then we get to our fourth number, it's a negative times another negative again. And a negative times a negative goes back to being positive. Okay, stay with me. Then we get to the fifth number. So we have a positive times another negative, which goes back to being negative. So our final answer here is negative 243 over 3,125. And so that we don't have to do this every time, okay, anytime you're doing exponents, if the exponent is even, the answer is positive. And if the exponent is odd, then the answer is negative. And we saw that. We said when there was two numbers here, it came out positive. When there were three numbers, it ended up being negative. At four numbers, it was positive again. So every time it's even, your answer goes back to being positive. Every time it's odd, it goes back to being negative. And of course, this only is the case if and only if the base is negative. If the base is positive, none of this matters. Your answer is just going to stay positive. Okay, so that's it. You can also use a calculator for this. But where's the fun in that? I don't know if people stopped talking once I quieted my son here. Or if everyone just fell asleep. Whatever. Either way, it's only 9,995 people to get to our goal of 10,000 people watching. Practically there. Alright, last part. Evaluate the expression. So same idea. This is solve. Only instead of just telling you, it gives you a variable and then follows up by telling you what the variable is equal to. So we're just going to rewrite these using the values they give us. So r to the third power, if r is 5, so that's 5 to the third power, minus s they just said is 4. So 5 to the third power minus 4. So 5 times 5 times 5 minus 4. We have to do all this first. We did this previously, right? 5 times 5 times 5 is 125, so we don't have to do it again. So 125 minus 4 is 121. So that's it. So it looks complicated. It's got all this stuff going on, but really it's just take the values it gives you, put it into the problem, and then work the problem out. Nothing to it. So our last one, we have m squared, where m is 6, and minus n to the third power if n is 2. So we rewrite it. So that's 6 to the second power minus 2 to the third power. So 6 times 6 minus 2 times 2 times 2. So 6 times 6 is 36. Oh, someone just got here. We're up to 6 people. But they missed everything. Oh well. So 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 again is 8. It's a minus sign. So 36 minus 8 is 28. And we're done. Another lesson down. Only like, I don't know, 30 more to go this year? Nothing to it. Alright, good night. Go home. Now I turn this thing off. There it is.